Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good greetings. Here I will be watching this video titled 10 Biggest Sins in Islam. So this is another video by FTD Facts. So I'm actually interested to know what is the 10 biggest sins that they put in the list. So without further ado, let's go and watch this video.
The religion of Islam is viewed by Muslims as being the right path. And being seen as the right path, there are things that you're encouraged to do and certain things that you're not encouraged to do. Hey guys, welcome back to FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and I know a lot of people have had questions about what is forbidden in Islam, what's considered a sin, and this is speaking of Islam generally speaking. So in this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at 10 of the biggest sins in Islam, and some of these, by the way, are going to be types of sin, and others will be specific sins. You'll see what I mean. So let's start off with number 10, and here we have them. Now this is related to the sins committed against God. In the Quran, Surah 3, verses 15 to 16, it says, "Say, shall I inform you of something better than that? For those who fear Allah will be gardens in the presence of their Lord, beneath which rivers flow, wherein they abide eternally, and purified spouses and approval from Allah. And Allah is seeing of His servants, those who say, O Lord, indeed we have believed, so forgive us our sins and protect us from the punishment of the fire." So when dhanb is used in this example in the Quran, it really talks a lot about the type of sin that is punishable in the afterlife. So in fact, dhanb is considered a great sin, and it's often used in the Quran in contrast with sa'i'ah, which denotes a smaller sin. Next up at number 9, we have...
Okay, so interesting. So that's about a bit technical, I think. It's not, because normally when we talk, among us, what is the 10 biggest sins, I do expect that a specific sin, but here it is going technically how the words is being used, and it encompass a lot of things that is considered part of that.
Itham. Some scholars believe that the basic meaning of itham is an unlawful deed that's committed intentionally. This is in contrast with dhanb, and dhanb can be both intentional and unintentional. However, it is based on the context of a particular situation. There's a passage in the Quran in Surah 2, verses 173 that says, "He has only forbidden to you dead animals, blood, and the flesh of swine, and that which has been dedicated to other than Allah. But whosoever is forced by necessity, neither desiring it nor transgressing its limits, there is no sin upon him. Indeed, Allah is forgiving and merciful." So that passage gives you sort of an example of the particular context that this would be used in.
The consumption of haram, like you're drinking a beer. The zina of the eyes. It's pretty major.
Khati'ah comes in at number 8. Now this is considered by many scholars to be a moral lapse or a mistake. So this interpretation has led some scholars to believe that khati'ah is a lesser sin than itham. However, the word khati'ah is frequently used in conjunction with itham in the Quran. Now in the Quran, Surah 4, verses 112, it says, "By whoever earns an offense or a sin and then blames it to an innocent person has taken upon himself a slander and manifest sin." So this verse in the Quran really indicates that khati'ah is considered an itham, which is a grave sin. So you can see in this verse in the Quran, it indicates that khati'ah is considered an itham, a grave sin. Next up we have jurm. Now this is a word that's often considered a synonym with dhanb because it is used to describe some of the same sins, like spreading lies against God and not believing the signs of God. In the Quran, the word mostly appears in the form of mujrim, which means one who commits a jurm. The people who do this are described in the Quran as having arrogance towards the believers. In the Quran, Surah 83, verses 29 to 32, it says, "Indeed, those who committed crimes used to laugh at those who believed. And when they passed by them, they would exchange derisive glances. And when they returned to their people, they would return jesting. And when they saw them, they would say, indeed, those are truly lost." At number 6, we have Junah and Haraj. Junah and Haraj have a similar meaning to that of itham.
So far, it is mostly category of sins. It's not pinpoint in terms of what you do specifically, right? I'm not sure whether down the line there will be something like that, right? Because normally when people say, oh, 10 biggest sins, is it alcohol, is it adultery, etc., right? But so far it is category of sin in terms of the language or the word used in Arabic so far.
And it's a sin that warrants a punishment. Now, in fact, these words are used almost interchangeably with itham in the same chapters in the Quran. Like the term itham, you'll often find these words in legislative portions of the Quran, specifically relating to regulations regarding marriage and divorce. Now, in the Quran, Surah 2, verses 235, you'll find that it says this: "There is no blame upon you for that which you indirectly allude concerning a proposal to women, or for what you conceal within yourselves. Allah knows that you will have them in mind, but do not promise them secretly except for saying a proper saying. And do not determine to undertake a marriage contract until the decreed period reaches its end. And know that Allah knows what is within yourselves, so beware of Him. And know that Allah is forgiving and forbearing." We got 5 more to go. We're going to get more into some specific sins. But before I continue this episode, just a reminder to leave a like on this episode if you really love the information that we're bringing. As well as if this is your first time here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, because we post videos daily. So there's always something new for you to learn about our world, cultures, religions, and the people within it. Number 5, we have al-kibara. Now, the most heinous sins in Islam are known as al-kibara, which translates to great or major one.
So that is interesting, because going into this, al-kabira or al-kabair, right? I was expecting what will be highlighted is the al-kabair. Normally, from my perspective at least, on general Muslim, because the word itself indicate it is huge, big. Kabir is big. Kabair meaning it's big sin, right? So the language itself indicates that. So there are specific sins inside that category. So I was expecting those kind of sins being put in specific. So I didn't expect this at all, to be honest. But it is interesting to learn. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether many Muslims are familiar with these words, because we do not tadabbur and we do not pay attention to the word in Arabic that much, generally speaking, honestly speaking. For non-Muslim, I'm not sure how they can relate to this so far, because it is mostly linguistic discussion.
While every sin is seen as an offense to God, al-kibar are the gravest of the offenses, and some of them include shirk, which is associating partners with Allah.
Yeah, so that was what I was expecting. Like, number 1, shirk, because that's, generally speaking, is the gravest sin ever mentioned in the Quran. That it is mentioned that Allah can forgive everything except for this, right? So I was expecting that list of al-kabair, but interesting nevertheless to revise what I have, many things that I have forgotten already in terms of the language.
Then there is committing murder, and there's also the practice of black magic and leaving daily prayers. And then we have zakat invasion, which is avoiding your obligatory duty to give to charity. But explaining more of the examples from number 5, this is where we get more into the specific sins. So let's talk about shirk. Shirk means associating partners with Allah, and this is a very serious prohibition. The Prophet Muhammad was accorded to have said these words: "Shall I not tell you of the most serious of the major sins?" We said, "Of course, O Messenger of Allah." He said, "Associating anything in worship with Allah." And in the Quran, Surah 4, verses 48, it says, "Indeed, Allah does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives what is less than that for whom He wills. And he who associates others with Allah have certainly fabricated a tremendous sin."
associating partners with Allah is the greatest sin in Islam, and it's the only sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises He will never forgive on the Day of Judgment.
Number 3, we have black magic. So there's sorcery, witchcraft, divination, astrology, fortune telling, and all of that is included under the heading of sorcery and black magic. And this is one of the major sins in Islam that can actually condemn somebody to hell. The Quran has this following passage, and they followed instead what the devils had recited during the reign of Solomon. It was not Solomon who disbelieved, but the devils disbelieved, teaching people magic and that which was revealed to the 2 angels at Babylon, Harut and Marut. But the 2 angels do not teach anyone unless they say, "We are a trial, so do not disbelieve," by practicing magic. And yet they learned from them that by which they cause separation between a man and his wife, but they do not harm anyone through it except by permission of Allah. And the people learn what harms them and does not benefit them, but the children of Israel certainly knew that whoever purchased the magic would not have the hereafter any share. And wretched is that for which they sold themselves, if they only knew. And that passage is taken from the Quran, Surah 2, verses 102. Then at number 2, this sin is stealing from orphans. So the guardians and the caretakers of orphans should use the property in their trust in a very correct manner and only for the benefit of the orphan. So a caretaker should be very careful not to spend any of the orphan's money because, this is considered a very serious offense in the religion of Islam. So being responsible for the welfare of an orphan is a great responsibility not to be taken lightly. In the Quran, Surah 4, verses 10, it says, "Indeed, those who devour the property of orphans unjustly are only consuming into their bellies fire, and they will be burned in a blaze."
Eating the wealth of the orphan. That orphan is defenseless in your care. You have to protect that orphan and protect his property.
And finally, at number 1, we have committing murder. Now, this is one of the gravest sins in the religion of Islam. And of course, this is due to the fact that the religion of Islam really embodies a code of ethics that's designed to protect the rights of individuals, including his or her right to live in a secure community. And now it was recorded that the Prophet Muhammad had said these words, "A man will continue to be sound in his religion so long as he does not shed blood, which it is forbidden to shed."
The third thing is murder. And we know that this is condemned again and again in the Quran. قَتْلُ النَّفْسَ الَّتِي حَرَّمَ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ.
That wraps up this episode on 10 of the biggest sins in the religion of Islam. Really hope you guys found this video very insightful. There's definitely a whole lot more to explore on this topic. So if you enjoyed this one and you want to see a part 2, let me know down below in the comments section. Also, my social media links are below in the video description section. And I'm going to be leaving you the recommended episode. It's going to be at the end screen. So once you see the annotation, give it a tap, enjoy that episode, and I'll see you guys next time.
So that's part 2 there, right? So no alcohol, not married. So I'm assuming many of the specific sin will be there because I assume adultery, I assume alcohol, right? So that was among the things that I was expecting, and there's one sin that I was hoping, I was anticipating whether it will be there or not, which is riba, right? Because that's one sin that is included in Al-Kaba'ir, but many Muslims actually, unfortunately today, do not realize they are involved in it. But that's a topic for another day. But anyway, I think because the methodology that he used here is he used from the general scope, how the Quran approach it, and there's those category of words using to describe sin. I'm not sure whether I can say the title of the video is misleading, 10 biggest sins, because half of it is basically types of sins, and within that, if you discuss, there's a different type of sins in terms of the specific type of sins. What am I saying? But anyway, hopefully it's not a surprise if you are a Muslim about murder, about black magic. Unfortunately, some Muslims in certain places still get involved in some of those, right? So, unfortunately, right? So, how many of these did you expect if you are anticipating? I mean, a list of 10, right? And what do you first will put, right? And Anyway, I think that is the video. I have been hoping to restart my reaction video so that to keep the ball rolling yet again. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been for me at least, it is I don't know, revision of certain things that I have forgotten. Some of the words is quite familiar still, like ism, al-kaba'ir, but some of the other words I've already forgotten because I do not use it in conversation. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.